Hey guys, this video is me basically just sort of like thanking you guys basically. Like a few days ago I reached 500 subscribers, which I mean in YouTube world that's obviously small fry, but for me that's like, you know, that's ridiculously low. That's a lot more than I would ever have thought would be subscribing to my channel, because you know, like it was just a channel for me to just sort of like share videos, like basically just share my progress of sim racing. You know, I really do like it, and I do like sharing my experiences of races and laps and you know, different equipment that I'm using. So it was, you know, it's just me, just little old me, just sharing what I'm doing. And to have like 500 subscribers is like, you know, like quite a ridiculous achievement for me. I wouldn't have thought it would happen. I thought that, you know, a couple would just be my friends and a few other people who want to look at certain setups and you know, some lap times and some driving lines. But yeah, for it to grow this big so fast, you know, I'm really appreciative. You know, I can't thank you guys enough. You know, even if I had like one subscriber, I'd still be doing it. But just having so many people that sub to my channel shows that I'm making, you know, like quite good content, and I'll be, you know, more than happy to keep doing it. But yeah, you know, thanks again, guys. You know, this is just as much your achievement as it is mine, and you know, let's keep it going for 2018. Also thought it would be a good idea to give you guys like a, and also myself, like a 2017 review, kind of like look back on the year and see how it went, talk about how it went, sorry, and you know, just give that little bit of analysis basically. Okay, so before I get into 2017 review, I have to briefly talk about 2016 review, because obviously that's like never really spoken about it. So 2016 for me was obviously the first year that I got into sim racing. Before that, I mean, like my racing in terms of career or prowess or whatever it was basically brought up on Wipeout, Mario Kart, Colin McRae Rally, like Colin McRae Rally, the first one. Like, you know, it was. So yeah, I never really knew anything about this sort of like community racing with an actual steering wheel, like, you know, and pedals. It was all quite new to me. So this is the year that I, you know, dived in, got my first wheel and pedals, started out single player, you know, just racing against the AI, trying to like, you know, improve my times. And then from there, it was sort of like coming out of my little cave and and going into the community, because the better you get at racing the AI, that's good, but you know, uh, my competitive nature, you know, made me want to challenge myself even more. I'm like, okay, you know, the AI is cool, but let's see what it's like to race against, you know, faster opponents. So, you know, I joined different clubs and communities, and that way I then was able to like join in like really fun races, like more sort of casual races, but still kind of slightly competitive. You know, racing against people, which was a very big hurdle to come over, sorry. Racing against people, especially when you're trying to be fast, was like really overwhelming at first, because you know, like when you're trying to be fast is one thing, but then when you've got like somebody ahead of you intentionally trying to prevent you from getting by them, you know, that's a pretty difficult skill to sort of like attain in such a short time. Like it's definitely different to the Mario Karts and the, you know, Diddy Kong Racings of the world, where, you know, I'm just used to just going as fast as you can. Somebody in front of you, you just barge them off or you hit them with a shell. This one's obviously much more nuanced. There's a lot more emphasis in skill, and not just like skill with the wheel, more so skill in your mind as well, because you've got to like tactically figure out a way to get by cleanly with both of you still on track, and you know what I mean, and able to hold that position. So that was really cool. So yeah, I'll dedicate 2016 to me just sort of like learning my racecraft, basically learning, you know, racing lines, braking points, getting better at it, you know, and then that cycle again, learn some better racing lines, better braking points, better accelerating, like basically like that, until I finally got to the stage where I needed a bit more competition, because the more I was learning, the faster I'm getting, the faster competition I need to help, you know, keep pushing me. Because one thing I do love about the sim racing community and sim racing in general is that sort of like growth that you go through when you're learning new things. You learn something new, you try it out, and then you figure it out. You figure out how to do it more consistently, and then you just naturally just get better. And then in getting better, you hunger for more improvement. So it was a really cool year. I really enjoyed it. Really glad I got into it. So yeah, let's move on to 2017. So 2017 was the year that I really started to push myself, I guess, in a sense where like I was noticing that I was getting faster, and I was noticing that, you know, some of the people, a lot of people that I was racing with at the time were cool racers when I wasn't, you know, when I was at a certain level, but then I needed to be pushed even more, so I needed tougher racers. So, you know, I'm generally gonna get that. Sometimes I could get that in club races depending on who signed up, but a lot of times he couldn't, so it meant that I would have to find a league. So 2017 was the year of the leagues and competitions. I was just joining whatever I could join with whatever free time that I had. I lost track in terms of how many leagues I joined, but it must have been over 15 or something over the year. It was quite a lot. Probably some would probably say too much, but you know, I had loads of fun, and I was definitely, I could tell I was definitely learning in each league I joined. You know, from start to finish. My confidence also grew over the year, like from the start of 20 towards the end of 20. The start, I mean, I knew I had decent pace, but there were a lot of people that I still, you know, wouldn't class myself as being nowhere near on the same level as, or even getting to the same level as. But towards the end of the year 2017, I definitely felt like I'd made a really big improvement in terms of like my driving ability and my racecraft as well. I did, you know, obviously I definitely had, you know, my fair share of incidents in the year. Some were my fault, some weren't, but still could have been avoided by me with slightly different choices. But I do feel like I've grown as a racer, and really appreciative of all the experience that I've gained with all the leagues that I joined. And for all you guys out there that are, you know, just getting into sim racing and you're noticing yourself improve as well, I would definitely highly recommend just joining a league. You know, like join just somewhere where you're gonna be constantly pushed. Like I feel like that definitely helped me, like get faster in a quicker space of time. Like, because I'm so new to racing in general, really. Because I think at this time I was still just under a year of sim racing. And I never knew anything about motorsport. Somebody asking me the difference between DTM and WTCC and GT3s, GTEs, WEC, like all this other stuff. I wouldn't have a clue. I mean, I know that there were some really cool looking cars. You know, I played grid before, but at the same time, I didn't know what it meant in terms of competition. So there was I felt like I had a lot of time to cover, because obviously a lot of people had a lot more experience than me. But yeah, if you want to help improve yourself, I'll definitely say like join a league, and not necessarily, you know, not necessarily saying you have to join it to win, because a lot of my leagues that I joined, I had no hope in winning. But at the same time, just racing and being able to watch the races back, and especially the faster racer guys, and just to see what they're doing, you'll be surprised to notice that a lot of them are, you know, they're human beings. They make mistakes just like we do. They just found a way to minimize their mistakes and keep and stay, you know, stay a bit more consistent than the most of us, and just have better racing lines, you know, and braking points and stuff. So I'll definitely recommend like doing that, like just join a league and test yourself. It also helps that there's something on the race as well. I feel like when I was doing club races, it was cool and all, especially with some people that, you know, I ended up having like really good races with people, and it was fun. It was good, good test of my skills. But then in the end, it's kind of like there was nothing on the race, like in terms of points. So like points, monetary, whatever it is, like, you know, you're not stressing for a position as much as you would in a league. Do you know what I mean? You're not forcing yourself to have to concentrate as hard, because you know, you guys are racing, probably even sort of like racing a little bit more careless than you probably would do in like an actual league, because you're just there to have fun really, which is all good, and it definitely has its place. But then when you really want to test yourself and sort of like get yourself to sort of get better, you have to kind of like put yourself in a position where you will lose something. It's kind of like putting your money where your mouth is. You know, like I remember when I was playing football as a kid, and my coach says, oh, okay, try and hit the top corner, and then I do it, and he's like, okay, then do it again, and then I do it again, and then he's like, well, you know, okay, then that's cool, but then now we've got to try and find a way. You know, it's cool that you can do it now consistently, but let's see if you can do it with 100 people watching you, 1,000 people watching you. Like, you know, when there's money on the line, if you score, then you win £1,000. If you miss, then, you know, you lose that £1,000. You know, it's that being able to deal with pressure a little bit better, which is sort of like what forces you to concentrate, because when you're around people that are just as fast as you, you have to be more consistent with your lap times. Whereas if you're kind of like breezing past people, yeah, don't get me wrong, that's fun and I'm sure it looks cool, but at the same time, that stress of having to like hold the position now isn't there anymore. And like, even if you do mess up, it doesn't really cost you much, because you know that you're going to gain the position back again, or a few positions back. So I personally feel that it definitely helps more so than club racing. Club racing definitely has its role to play to get you used to people on the track, and to obviously have fun when you don't really care about position, when you want to care about that sort of stuff. But when you want to sort of like, you know, just test yourself a little bit more, you definitely have to sort of like go into a league and see what you can do. You know, when there's points on the line, when there's sort of like, oh, you know, if you make a move on somebody and they could write up an incident report, you know, reporting you about dangerous driving or not being a bit as responsible as you should be. You know, it's those sort of nerves that once you learn how to deal with them, I feel like you'll just naturally get better. The highlight of year 2017 for me would be probably two things. One would be trying out endurance racing for the first time, which was really cool. Like, at first, somebody telling me that I'd be racing, you know, by this time I was only used to like racing 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. I don't even think I'd done an hour at this point. But yeah, like racing for like 3 hours, you know, 2-3 hours was like ridiculous to me. I said, how the hell can you do that? Because in my head, I was thinking, because I'm only used to driving 100%, like giving my 100% all in each race, and like concentrating and being so like, you know, like so high octane, where you're concentrating so much, and after races you feel fatigued. That's what I was feeling. So I was thinking to do that for like 2-3 hours was ridiculous. But obviously with sim racing, it's not just about being, in endurance racing, it's not just about being fast. It's more about being consistent and safe, because there's so many things that could really mess up your race, especially when there's a lot of other people depending on you. Like in a single race, yeah, if I mess up, I've just got myself to blame, and I'm only letting myself down. Whereas in a team of 3, 4, 5, you know, they're depending on you to bring the car in for the next guys in like a half decent condition. So, you know, it then forces you to be a little bit more responsible, a bit more considerate in terms of how you race. And also when you're driving, I'd say you're driving about 90% pace as opposed to like 100% all the time, because that way it allows you to stretch out your racing for a lot longer time, which doesn't make you as fatigued as quickly as like racing at 100% for 20-30 minutes does. And it was fun, man. It was good. Like again, another thing to sort of like help like improve your racecraft. You know, like race for a couple hours, try not to make a mistake, and see where that gets you. Like it's really cool. I definitely recommend it, but definitely don't jump into it straight away. It's quite nerve-wracking, especially at the beginning. But you fall into your rhythm and just start to go quite easy after that. My next sort of big accomplishment this year was basically taking part in some race room DTM Championship races last year. The championship was basically, I think it was like 10 races or something like that, and I think I competed in 5 of them, which was really cool. So basically what you had to do was go onto the leaderboard, put a time up, and the top 20, something like that, the top 20 qualify for the race, and I was fortunate enough out of quite a lot of people to qualify for 5 races, which was really cool. Really proud of that. This was at the beginning of the year 2017 when it started, roughly, like I say, about springtime. And it was at the point when, you know, I was feeling confident, I was improving, but I mean, I was not, you know, I wouldn't put myself in this class of caliber of racers because, you know, I'd seen a lot of these guys' videos, and you know, obviously learned a lot from them. So just to have the chance to race with them was obviously like a, you know, great achievement for me. But by the end of the year, I was getting to a situation where I was starting to feel like I could maybe push 1 or 2 of them, which was really cool. But, you know, so, you know, there's an example of like my progression over the year. It kind of started how you'd expect. I think the first race I qualified for was Hockenheim, and, you know, really excited, just made it in like in the last 2 or 3 places or whatever. And, you know, race comes along, really excited. Got to race with like another really famous race driver at the time, I can't remember who, but in the end it kind of ended in tears because I think I only lasted 3 laps, and then I just crashed out, and that was it. Got hit the wall, engine done. That was a shame. Really anticlimactic, but, you know, it wasn't the end of the world, even though that didn't go as according to plan. You know, I then tried to go for the next one. I think the next one was, I can't remember where it was, but I remember I qualified for it again. Actually, I think it was Norris Ring. Yeah, and I qualified for it, got into the race. This time I did finish the race. I didn't crash, I did finish the race, but unfortunately there was like a bug or something that made me have to go into the pits when I didn't have to, so I kind of came last. Yeah. Hey, it's still an improvement though. Rome wasn't built in a day. Next up was Hungaroring, and for this one, I again qualified for the race. A little bit better than I did the others. I feel a bit more comfortable, or like this track a bit better than the others. And the race came, so I didn't crash. I didn't finish last, and I just finished outside of the points. I think it was like outside of the top 10. The top 10 get points, the rest don't. So I think I finished like 11th or 12th or something, which again, you know, a big improvement. Like I was able to sort of like stick with the guys, you know. It was really cool. It was really cool. Really enjoyed the race, and yeah, you know, just glad to be a part of it. Then the one after this was Nürburgring. Surprisingly qualified for this race because it's actually one of the tracks that I don't like, but I managed to get in there anyway. And this one then ended up being my best performance of the season so far, where I finished 7th, I think it was 7th or 8th, something like that, where I actually got my first set of points, which was really cool. And then last on the calendar for me, because unfortunately I couldn't make all the races, was Red Bull Ring, which I really do like. That's like my favourite track in Race Room anyway. And I was able to qualify quite well, and coming to the race I did feel really confident. I could feel like I was able to come into the race and actually challenge people and start making moves on people, whereas with the others I was just sort of sticking with people and just hanging on basically. But this was a really cool race. I finished 5th or 6th in the end. Like, it was, you know, just behind a really fast racer called Tim Heinemann, which, you know, again, like I can only say like I was really appreciative of just having the opportunity to race with these guys and learn and see what it actually takes to get to that sort of level, you know. And yeah, this was like a really good accomplishment for me. You know, obviously I'm not winning anything, but in my mind I won something. Just to get in there was good enough for me, and that's what I'm here for, really. This channel is really just me like sharing my experiences with sim racing as much as I can, whether it be recording, streaming it or whatever, and sharing it with you guys so you can see where I'm at, you know. Because like I would say I have dedicated quite a lot of time to this sort of like hobby of mine. Like, I just, you know, it just fits me perfectly, especially like the progression and the achievements and just that satisfying feel of, you know, accomplishing a good lap and then doing it again and then again and trying to do it as much as you can until maybe you make a mistake, but you know, minimizing those mistakes and dealing with pressure, because you're going to come across like really fast people all the time that are faster than you, but learning how to defend respectfully and not cause incidents. You know, all of this stuff is just amazing. And again, like, I'm just glad to be able to share that with you guys, and I'm glad to see that it's you know, it's something that you guys really like out there, and you know, I'm gonna keep sharing it. Whether I had 500 subs or just 3 subs, I'd still be putting the videos up. But you know, it's yeah, just great to be able to communicate with, you know, all you crazy racers out there. Basically, we're all nuts, but it's nice to be nuts together. So yeah, again, I just want to thank you guys again for, you know, supporting my channel, and you know, here's looking forward to 2018. I think I'll probably calm down in the leagues. I definitely joined way too many last year. Well, I won't say way too many. I joined loads. So this year I probably won't join as much, but I'll still be, you know, jumping from here and there. You know, just racing, basically racing, enjoying my racing, enjoying sharing it with you guys, and see where it takes us. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll catch you guys later.